110-109. We all knew what this game meant for a lot of Magic fans and Raptor fans. Y'all came for the popcorn. Let's get it done. Robert and I are ready to box it in the ring, man. But yeah, Jalen Suggs versus Scottie Barnes was the marquee matchup going into this game. They both had good games. They both impacted the game for their teams in different ways. I'm sure we'll break it down in different ways because we love the game so much. But first and foremost, how you doing, Rob?
Um, recovering, recovering from a panic attack because the Raptors nearly just blew a game. But I'm glad we got the win.
Even guys like Sam Vecini have admitted that he kind of made a mistake in his evaluation process, which is normal because he has to cover a bajillion of prospects. So maybe it slipped through so we'll give him a pass on that. He's been pretty good for most of his career. But I was so confident that Scottie would be a star in his league. And I'll be the first to admit it's 6 games, but you can already tell that he is going to be a very good player for a very long time. And I was so close, Rob, of putting him number 1, but I was like, damn, like my credibility matters. And if I put him over Cade, but still, I had him number 2. People still thought I was crazy. I felt very confident. And yeah, man, I'm loving what I'm seeing from him so far. But Jalen Suggs hasn't had the same success in the first 5 games. But I believe today, 21 points. He put his team in a great position to steal the game down the stretch. I thought he had a good game, but you can only have one winner, and we'll break it all down. But what were your thoughts on Jalen Suggs going into the game and then after the game?
You know that you're laughing right now because you already know what I'm going to say, right? Look, I'm going to be on the record with this. All right. I put up with a lot of crap from a lot of Raptor fans for 3 months heading into the draft because they were saying Suggs, Suggs, Suggs. And I was saying Barnes, 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 or Mobley. And there are things that I saw in Suggs' game, what I want to call holes in his game. And there were holes in Barnes' game, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And the difference between these two prospects, apart from the sheer magnitude of their upside being poles apart, in my opinion. I don't think that's a stretch to say that what Barnes can be is just so much greater than what Suggs can be. But the fact is that Jalen Suggs came into this draft as the considerably more NBA ready prospect.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
He did.
But he came with some holes. Okay? And I don't think that those holes were necessarily addressed in the offseason for him. I see a lot of the exact same stuff that I saw from him in high school, that I saw from him in the national team, that I saw from him at Gonzaga, that I saw from him in preseason and summer league. Look, he is a great athlete, lightning quick, streaky shooter, consummate pro, competitive, feisty, media darling, all that stuff, okay? There are a lot of guys like that in NBA history that have not panned out, okay? Now, I am not willing to say after 6 games and some of the most abysmal shooting splits that you can ever imagine for a player, and I'm not just talking shooting splits. These splits are across the board, and if I read you the numbers, yeah, like if you're a Magic fan, go to Basketball Reference and just look at the per 36 numbers. Look at the shooting splits, even after what Leo's calling a good game tonight. It's not pretty, okay? I think he has a weak handle. I think he's emotionally reactive. I think he has a streaky shot. I think the limited wingspan is going to hinder him. I don't think he's a point guard. So that's what I felt about Jalen Suggs going into the game. What did I feel about him during the game?
Mm-hmm.
He had a pretty good game. But I want to caution that for all you Raptor fans who are like, oh, see, Suggs is not that bad. He had 21 points on 6 for 14 shooting. Leo thinks that's a good shooting percentage.
That's a good shooting percentage, yes.
6 for 14.
Yeah.
For anyone out there with a calculator,
that's
do the
43%.
Okay, that's not a great shooting percentage in the NBA.
That's a good shooting percentage in the NBA. Go ahead.
Okay. Shooting 4 for 8 from 3 is misleading. Okay, I want you to really, if you're a Raptor fan,
that's 50%,
you're like, oh my God,
Rob.
It is 50%, but I really want you to go and see how open those threes were. Okay.
Define open, because both you and I have different definitions of open.
Okay. The first three that we were debating was the three that he took on Fred VanVleet,
Right.
which got it going, right?
Mhm.
Now, at the point that he released the shot, Fred VanVleet, who is 5'11" with a 6-foot wingspan,
Right.
and Jalen Suggs is 6'4" with a 6'6" wingspan,
Mhm.
Fred VanVleet was 7 feet away from him when he
Mhm.
released that shot. Okay.
But why was he 7
Right.
feet away from him? Because
Okay. And that's
add
what
some
I and that's what I
context.
want to and that's what I want to get to. Okay. The Raptors have a nasty habit of leaving corner shooters open. Okay. It's a part of their defense. They surrender it every single game, and someone goes off. Okay. It's a gamble. You live with it. I'm not going to complain about the Raptors defense. It's been pretty awesome this year, but it
It
is one of
has.
the holes in their defense, and it's been that way for
No,
a
but
while.
you got to give up something. Like you can't cover everything as a defense, and they choose to give up corner threes, which is fine.
Which is, kind of ironic since most people would consider that's the absolutely most efficient shot in the
Sure,
game.
that's very, very
However,
true.
However, I will say this: Jalen Suggs came into this game shooting below 23% from three.
Yes, he did.
Okay, so if you are the Raptors scouting department, you will dare this guy to shoot,
Yeah.
and you'll live with it. Okay, and I will argue that I don't think that Jalen Suggs actually killed him tonight. Okay, I think they killed themselves. And we'll get into that when we do the game interview.
But this was from
And I
the
wanna
top of the
talk-
circle, just to give fans, and I'm sure they're watching this with some B-roll on top, but this is not from the corner. We're just pointing out that that's what they like to give, but this shot came from the top, from the middle, pretty much.
Yes, Suggs shot this one from about 27 feet.
Yep.
And it was a great shot. It was a great shot. It looked smooth. It looked fluid. But I just want to say, guys, you do not draft this guy to be your fifth option. You didn't draft this guy to be your fifth option. And what I always worry about with rookies, especially when people talk about the rookie wall, right? People say it's like the rookie wall, and a lot of people have a different interpretations of why the rookie wall exists. And some people say it's because the NBA travel, grind,
Right.
lifestyle, the number of games you have to play, back-to-backs, etc. People just get tired. I will argue that there's a second component to the rookie wall that a lot of people don't give enough credit to, which is scouting. Okay, once you've had about 20 games, scouts really catch up to your tendencies, and now you don't get to catch people off guard anymore. So a lot of rookies who are off to really hot starts, including Scottie Barnes, including Chris Duarte, including guys like this, people are going to start scouting these guys.
For sure.
And things that they like to do. How often does he turn over the left shoulder? How often does he turn over the right shoulder? How weak is his handle in this situation? What moves does he like to go to in the post? Okay, you're going to have to get counters real quick. Right? Especially if you are someone like Scottie Barnes or Jalen Suggs or Jalen Green or Cade Cunningham, where frankly right now the scouting report's pretty thin. Okay? But it's going to get thicker. And so you need to have some sort of physical dominance or cerebral processing speed to overwhelm that.
Right.
LeBron had that.
Luka.
Melo had that. Luka had that. There are very few players in the league.
Trae Young has that.
He has that now. He didn't have that always. He caught a win definitely. And it's like people on Raptors Twitter and Magic Twitter have been sort of pointing to Jalen Suggs' cold shooting start as kind of the same thing as Trae Young's cold shooting start. And I would argue that they're not the same, because Jalen Suggs is a non-shooter, or people say streaky shooter, but I'll argue he's a non-shooter who's come in and proven that he's a non-shooter for the most part. And Trae Young was a very good shooter who came in and had a cold streak. So it's kind of the same way that I don't look at Damian Lillard's cold start the same way I look at Russell Westbrook's cold start, because I know who Damian Lillard is. And so I look at it that way. Now, again, I'm not high on Suggs. I think he'll be a solid starter. I really do. I compared him to Jordan Clarkson. Some people are a lot higher on him. I'm not. There's a lot of reasons for that.
But Clarkson's a six-man, though. You just said he's a starter.
Clarkson's skill set makes him a six-man, but his overall impact is starter impact, right? The role that he plays, and he chucks off the bench, he takes a lot of shots, etc., and he's become better at it. In an ideal world, there are a lot of players who start in the NBA who probably be better off six men. They just happen to be too well paid to come off the bench,
right?
Or their ego is too big. But the skill set is ideally a combo guard off the bench, but I imagine because Magic invested a high lottery pick in him that he'll get the starting nod for 2 years. Obviously I like him a hell of a lot more than Cole Anthony, just upside alone.
100%.
But he had a worse game than Cole Anthony today. So, I don't know. I'm not super high on him, but I am really high on Scottie Barnes, and I'm incredibly high on Delano Banton. So I guess we can talk about Scottie Barnes, or if you want to offer
So
some sort of
I
counter
guess
perspective on Suggs.
Ro, just to finish our thoughts on Suggs before we move on to Scottie Barnes. And I respect the claim that he was wide open. I just think we have different understandings of what that means. But I will give you the nod on the scouting report said we'll live with him beating us, and he shot 50%. But you still got the W. So your scouting report was fine for tonight, right? Like that's the process was right. You, for the most part, gave him room to operate, and he beat you tonight. But this is a team sport, and your overall goal was to win the game. But he did shoot 50%, and maybe this catapults him from a confidence perspective. And once it's like any hooper knows this. Once you start seeing the ball go in, it can do wonders for your whole game. And he hasn't been as effective as a passer. To me, he's a much better passer than what he's shown the first 5 games of the season. I will stand by that. I also think he's a better defender than what he's shown in the first 5 games. I will stand by that. And just his overall feel and the little things that he does that don't show up in box scores, he hasn't been great. Maybe there is a little bit of an adjustment there for him. I don't know. I haven't watched enough Magic games, and that's just me being completely transparent. But everything on tape in terms of the evaluation process of him coming out and having a stellar 1 year at Gonzaga shows that those great characteristics that made him a top 5 pick, he hasn't shown quite yet until tonight. He had plenty of plays where he got his teammates involved. He broke down the Raptors defense, which isn't that easy to do, especially with all that size. And he broke it against elite defenders like OG, like Scottie Barnes. So it's not like he did it against Joe Blow or Trent Jr., who was an awful defender still, in my opinion, even though he's had good moments. So you kind of put all these variables into the equation. And you're like, well, I think he'll be just fine. And look, being in Sacramento, there were fans calling for De'Aaron Fox's head after the first 4 games, saying, let's trade Fox. Fans will always overreact. That's just what it means to be a fan. And it's my job to kind of put some balance and some context to the whole picture. With all that said, I'm still a big Scottie Barnes supporter. I will always stand by Scottie Barnes. And I do think when it's all said and done, he's going to end up being the better player. But I also think, just as Fred VanVleet said after the game, both the Magic and the Raptors are happy with who they drafted. And I think that's very important.
Well, I have a streaking suspicion that this video is going to generate a lot of views. So let me just set the record straight. I want to let you guys know I have at least, I will guarantee you, an inside source that says Suggs definitely wanted to be a Raptor. He did want to be here.
That's beautiful.
Okay? He did not tank his workout on purpose. I'm setting the record straight. If anyone from the media wants to contact me, yes, I can probably maybe share my source. But it's not true. He didn't tank his workout on purpose. Why would he even attend a workout on purpose? I mean, I just want to be clear.
100%.
There are prospects, just so everyone out there knows how these workouts work. Agents decide which teams their client is going to go work out for. Ask you now, give me where you think these two guys will be in 5 years, based on what you've seen.
In 5 years, Scottie Barnes will be, at the bare minimum, a one-time All-Star, and that's me being conservative. But he's probably going to be a 3-time All-Star in year 5. Jalen Suggs, I think he's going to be a very good basketball player. I don't know if he'll be an All-Star. I haven't seen enough, but I've seen enough from Scottie just because I'm also banking on him. Having him number 2 is a big deal. and it was a risk, but it was one that I was confident because I did the work. The evaluation process was there for me, and that's why I was so confident in that. And I pride myself in that because, again, I've hit on a lot of good picks in the last since 2017, since I've been doing this. So I hope he goes and he's at that level. But in terms of Suggs, I had him number 5 on my big board, so I'm also very high on him. I think he's going to be a very good player. I'm not worried about Suggs. So exactly where he's going to be, I could say he will be a borderline all-star. Like sometimes to me, like you and me said, there's 36 all-stars, 24 to 36 every year. And he may be playing at that level, but he may not be chosen because there's just so much competition in both
No, I would
conferences.
argue there's 40 All-Stars.
Right.
every year and
Like
24 get
there's
chosen.
a lot of all-star level players, but
Right.
they don't get the nod to play in the game. So the ceremonial
Or they're
all-star,
injured.
right?
Yeah.
And Scottie
Okay.
could be that at the end of this year, right? Like he can easily be playing at an all-star level at the end of this year, and he won't get the nod until certain guy falls off because it's a popularity contest. Let's be honest. So yes, I think he'll be a one-time minimum, 3-time is my guess by the time he's in year 5. I also think Suggs will be very good for the Magic.
Okay. I think by year 5, Scottie will be borderline second team All NBA. I think also he will be a 3 to 4-time All-Star.
Yep.
He could be an All-Star as early as next year. Frankly,
Yep.
he's really good. I definitely see him as an all-defense guy.
Yep.
I think he racks up steals and blocks. And you know what? I think in 5 years we'll be. I don't even think it's going to be a question next year, to be honest, whose team this is and who they're building around.
Yep.
I think there was a comparison from Alvin Williams where it's kind of funny because I made the comparison to Giannis on draft night, and people were saying I was insane. He's very similar.
I've said that.
He's very similar.
Yes.
And then they were saying like, oh, if only does he have Giannis's work ethic? And it's just like, dude, yeah, he does. Yeah. He does have that work ethic, because you do not go from where he was 7 months ago to confidently pulling up from 3 from the mid-range, blasting back. 100%. You don't do that in 7 months if you don't have the craziest work ethic. And he did it all summer. He did it before the draft. He did it after the draft.
Thank you guys for all the love and support that we've been getting a lot from Raptor fans, from Rocket fans, from Cavs fans. Thank you guys, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.